Welcome back to my kitchen. Okay, this is 2 weeks after my first review. Since then I've done a lot more experimenting. I've probably fired maybe another 100 rounds, and I'm going to just talk you through what I've done in that time, what I've done in that time, and where I'm at with the gun now. Basically, I rewatched the last video and I realised I sounded like a bit of a Debbie Downer, so I want to start with some good points about this. The trigger itself. The trigger is actually excellent. I can't say a bad word about it. It doesn't have hardly any creep. It breaks just under 5 pounds consistently. It's a really good trigger. In fact, it's just as good as a Beretta Silver Pigeon. It's better than any Remington 700 out of the box. So they've done the trigger really well. The other thing is, it ejects super well. It throws shells 5 meters from you. Like the TAC-4s, the point of TAC-4s that you see the reviews on the net, that's their problem. They don't eject very well. This thing ejects like crazy. Probably because it's over-gassed to the hilt. Now, the other thing I can tell you is these spacers that you put in that come with the pack, once you've got your socket set on a lathe and filed down so you can actually remove this bolt, these spacers are great. I was able to turn it the 5-degree spacer for the right-hand shooter, lift it up, and honestly, this gun fits me amazing, which is sad because of what's happened with the gun, but this is probably the best fitting shotgun I've ever had in my life. Now, the action and the barrel stripped down really well. I could say that is a good point. I'm just reading from a screen next to the camera, sorry. And you will need to learn how to strip it down, because if you want to change out the barrel easily, you will, but it's an easy gun to strip down. It's easy to clean. You need to learn to clean it because it will get really dirty. Now, when I last saw you guys, I had a choke stuck in this, and that was the modified choke. I thought, okay, it didn't like the modified choke. I went and put the cylinder choke that came with this in the pack in the gun. Shot about 40 rounds, took it home to clean it, went to remove the cylinder choke, stuck as well. I had to put it in a vise to get the choke out. From there I went and bought a true lock choke. I'll show you the one I got. You can see that. These things are amazing. In fact, this choke, I'm going to go and buy them for my Beretta. They're so good. You're putting a metre and a bit group at 50 metres. It's an excellent choke, and I've undone it a couple of times since then. It comes out, it does not get damaged by use, unlike the ones that come with the gun. Now, what have I done since this? I made a small part that fit on the elevator, just a small triangular part, and that sat the rounds up slightly higher for slightly longer, and that was able to feed and get the gun cycling better. Because the timing on this is wrong, and it only was to feed 3-inch shells, the 2 3/4 with that little ramp worked well. I had tried a few different iterations, found the one that worked, and that works really well. Probably only get a jam 1 out of 10 times now versus 2 out of 5 times. So that's a positive. I then put a little spacer in here, the same as you put in a pistol, to buffer it so that the recoil was slightly less. Once again, that worked really well. It doesn't affect the action at all. It's got plenty of gas to get the shells out, but putting that part in reduced the recoil heaps. So if you are going to try to take the run with this, you'll have to make these parts too. What have I got to say? Oh, the dovetail on this. Now, one of the main reasons for buying this gun this year was I've got a few friends who are taking up shooting for the first time. I wanted to have a gun that could readily fit a red dot sight on it, so that they could just concentrating on leading the bird, not having to learn too much about how to sight properly and how to have the gun at the perfect angle, just so they could lead birds, see the red dot, pull the trigger at the right time. Less bullets used, less birds hurt, which is what we want, and more meat on the table. This thing's dovetail is not a normal dovetail like everything else on this gun. A normal dovetail is 1.8 to 2 mils deep, and you can easily clamp something on, and they clamp on hard. This thing, for some reason, is a 1.2 millimeter dovetail that doesn't have much overhang, so you can put a red dot on it, and I put 2 on it, and they both will fall off after about 5 or 6 shots. And I got that on camera once. So once again, the Bushmeister comes with a Weaver adapter that you can screw on. That beats this hands down. Now, where do I go from here with this gun? I still can't recommend it. I still can't tell you to go buy one. I haven't fixed the problems. I'm at the stage now where geese season started for me 2 days ago, and I was so excited to use this gun out there, but sadly I'm going to have to go back to the shop and say, this is the problems I'm having. Either I'll need a refund or it's got to get fixed. But if I'm going to send this away to get fixed, that's it. It's not going to come back before the end of the season. I don't think it'll ever come back within 6 months. So it also means I've thrown $70 at a permit and $250 worth of ammo at this gun. to have it go away, it's all lost. 350 bucks gone. So I'm pretty sad about that, but I'm hoping the gun shop will work with me and I'll get this fixed. The light primer strikes still continue with whatever ammo I use, Winchester, that Ely stuff, still getting light primer strikes, and I've looked at the primers, they are light strikes. It's not that they're not getting struck, they're just getting struck lightly. I know what you're saying, pull apart the bolt and fix the firing pin, Sam. I can't. You can pull the bolt out easily, you can get it in your hand, but all the retaining parts on this bolt are peened in place. They've struck them with a hammer. So the only way you get that would be to drill the peen out, pull the part, strip it, modify it, but once again, that would require me taking this back to a gunsmith, giving them the firing pin, saying, redesign me a better firing pin, or put better springs in this so it's got harder strike, which may change the trigger mechanism slightly, but that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars more put into a gun that's meant to work at $1,000 price point. So sadly, if you've got one of these, I'm hoping you've got a good one. I'm really hoping it's just mine, but I don't think you'd have a gun that come with a bad barrel, comes with a failure to feed, failure to fire. Yeah, it's just too many things have gone wrong. The chokes, that's the sort of thing you have from poor quality control, pushing out a product you haven't properly tested. It's not the sort of thing you get. You get one, maybe two of those if it was actually, if they'd done their research on it, but they haven't. They've put a product out that's cheap and nasty, and hopefully I can get a resolution. I've got a friend who's just bought a Bushmeister, again, and he's going to give it to me this week, and I'm going to tell you which one works and which one doesn't. Honest review, but I'll talk to you next week.